Hey guys, it's your best boxing friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Rachel, a super busy boxing weekend again because of obviously there's so many streaming services. But this weekend, at least, there were a lot of really good fighters in action and fighters that maybe we don't talk about all the time, but certainly I think deserve to be talked about
Well,
more.
interesting matchups, and they have the potential to be like doing something in the future of their division.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to see people like that
Yeah.
fighting.
Right. So it's not like beyond Mayweather and Pacquiao and the heavyweights. There are all these good young fighters who are carving out awesome careers, world title holders, in fact. And so two of them went head to head. Jose Ramirez knocked out Maurice Hooker in a sensational battle, I thought, to unify at 140. So Jose Ramirez comes out of that deal looking pretty good, still undefeated, and a unified champion. Gervonta Davis knocked out Ricardo Nunez in just 2 rounds, and Gervonta Davis is a two-time title holder. He lost one of the belts that he won on the scales, is why he's a two-time. He's never actually lost a fight. He's only 24 years old. He's boxing's youngest American title holder. Really big deal. Looked great in that fight. And then you have old Tevin Farmer, a guy that from Philadelphia, 130-pound fighter, a guy who I just love because of his resiliency, right? He started off in his career maybe not totally focused, maybe not having the best team around him, and lost a bunch of fights, man. But he's rebounded to just be one of the better boxers in the world. And a lot of people think that maybe he should start being on pound for pound list soon. He won a 12-round decision over a French fighter's name, who I'm not even going to try to say. But it was an important title defense for him. Rachel, let's talk about those three guys, right? We got Jose Ramirez, we got Gervonta Davis, and we got Tevin Farmer. Who do you think is going to be, who out of that three, who's the best fighter? Who's the best fighter out of those three guys?
Well, I think that it's Ramirez.
Okay.
I feel like he's the most skilled. I don't know. There's just something that I guess when I saw him fight Saturday where I felt like he brought just an elite like level of skill versus like really talented and I work really hard and I don't know. And the other two guys have a little more than that. I'm just saying that like I sense that he has like even a step above that.
Yeah, certainly he has had the best win of the weekend and a really great win, the best win of his career. He was a 2012 Olympic team person, right? And that's the Olympic team that did not do well in the Olympics. They did not medal for the first time in forever as far as the men go. And Jose Ramirez, as an amateur, won a ton of national titles, was just like really highly thought of as an amateur. But coming off that Olympic, I've gotten some differing stories here, so I'll give you both of them. In some ways, he was highly coveted as an amateur because all the major promotional companies wanted to sign him. Now, I don't think all the major promotional companies were offering him bazillion dollars to sign,
right.
But I think he definitely was wanted, and Top Rank Foods ultimately got him. On the other hand, right, he wasn't as highly coveted as, say, Earl Spence. Mm-hmm. And Earl Spence is already one of the bigger, younger stars in the sport today, probably the biggest this side of Canelo Alvarez. But he's had an awesome career. He is on his way, it seems like, to fighting for an undisputed junior welterweight championship, which is a really big deal. If he was the winner of this fight, now Regis Prograis is fighting Josh Taylor in the final of the World Boxing Super Series. They have the other two belts. Presumably, the winner then could, in fact, fight Jose Ramirez.
I think there was talk that Prograis and Ramirez have, I think it was
a gentleman's agreement. I said gentleman's agreement. I don't know exactly who, but I did talk to Regis Prograis' team. They certainly think that they are going to get that fight with Jose Ramirez. They thought they were going to get it before, but it didn't really work out because of dates and such like that. So I think that they think it's going to happen. And I think it seems like you got a guy like Jose Ramirez who fought Maurice Hooker, who went over and fought not on ESPN, which would have been his television work, on a DAZN card promoted by Matchroom Boxing, who promotes Maurice Hooker. Definitely seems like the kind of guy that wants the biggest fights. And that's awesome. If that happened, that would be the only third time in the last 10 years or so that it's happened. The first time it happened a really long time was also in the 140-pound division. That was Terrence Crawford when he did it a few years ago. And then, of course, Alexander Usyk just did it at cruiserweight, but it's pretty rare. Those are pretty rare things
We
that
just
are big
happened to
deals.
have been graced with it happening recently.
Especially in the 4-belt era. So it's a big thing. You've got all the Ws, WBO, WBA, WBC, and the IBF, right? And so it's a huge deal, and I think it's really important. I love that you said Jose Ramirez because he's accomplished so much, and you're right, he looks great. His explosive knockout over Maurice Hooker, that was sensational, especially against a guy as good as Hooker was giving back.
And it wasn't just that. It was that the fight, like prior to that, we had, like he fought with skill, but he also fought with like
determination.
Yeah, well, like
grit.
He put it all out there. You know what I mean? Like it was like you had two fighters who were just like fighting
in the guy's backyard because Hooker's from Dallas.
Okay, and I don't know. There's just something like special about that because, okay, you can be whatever kind of boxer you are and win fights. Best way, like Floyd Mayweather, you're gonna win fights with defense, and maybe some people think it's boring or something like that. But like, yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think that's great.
Do it.
But I can't like disagree that it wasn't really fun seeing Ramirez fight the way that he did.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And you could have come into that fight and fought like it maybe more technically and had more distance between you and Hooker, and it would have been a different fight. But it was fun to watch. Just two fighters like let their hands go.
Yeah.
And he still came out with the win because he was able to persevere through whatever Hooker was landing on him, and then that accumulation or that explosiveness, whatever it was, that like he caught Hooker with the right shot at the right time, and he couldn't come back.
And then finished him too. Caught him with the one and then jumped on him. A good example of kind of what you're talking about happened on the undercard when Tevin Farmer won his fight. I thought Tevin Farmer looked really good in the fight. He fought brilliantly. He showed a lot of defensive prowess and all that. Prowess. He showed a lot of defensive prowess and all of that, and that's great. I love watching it. But then people booed him. They certainly weren't booing Jose Ramirez, right? Because the different styles, that gains you more fans.
Yeah, I remember there was some confusion as to why like people were booing. Certainly, I mean, there couldn't have been like a lot of French fans in that.
There was apparently there was a small contingent of French fans, but it was because he boxed the way Floyd Mayweather, when he was coming up, if you don't remember this, it's not like he was some huge fan favorite. Mm-hmm. He didn't become Floyd Mayweather that you know and I know today until he had won enough to people finally gave him his due. Tevin Farmer, if you take that route, which I'm all for Tevin Farmer doing, I think he's a beautiful fighter, I think he's a great fighter, then you're going to have to experience some of that where some crowds just aren't going to get behind you because you did things that way rather than the Jose Ramirez way.
Yeah. And then we have the opposite with Gervonta Davis, who just
completely
rolled over his opponent,
Nunez.
Which, for me, I am more inclined to enjoy a fight that's longer between like Ramirez and Hooker that was interesting for most of the rounds and then ends like there's nothing better to me than like a 12th round knockout after a close fight.
And this was that, except it was 6 rounds. Right. Jose Ramirez versus Maurice Hooker. Yeah. Now, if you're going to bring Gervonta Davis, I was going to let you have this and just move on. But I do disagree with you. I think the best fighter I saw was Gervonta Davis. And I'm super excited about Gervonta Davis.
It's hard for me to make that decision after 2 rounds.
I understand. And you could look at his resume. He has a decent resume. People knock his resume all the time, but he beat Jose Pedraza, he knocked out Jose Pedraza, which is no small thing. I think that Gervonta Davis, just to me, has all the qualities that I like to see in a star fighter. One, he's just amazingly skilled and super talented. It's hard to have both of those, right? He has both of those. You can see the skill in his work and that just the hand speed and power. 2, he loves to throw power punches. And I love that. I love when guys go in there and want to just get that knockout done. And he does. If he hurts you, he's going to come get you. Mm-hmm. He sold a lot of tickets in Baltimore. That's great. He's got a hometown crowd there. Gervonta Davis came from a really tough situation in his life, right? He came from like abject poverty, a difficult crime-ridden area of the city. He's come through all that, I think, and a better person than he was. And he's had trouble like growing into this role. But what I see when I see him talk, and I'm not a big fan of Showtime Sports and how they highlight a lot of people that maybe I don't always think they should be doing that. The exception is Gervonta Davis, who when I hear him talk and I just hear him, beyond all the glitz and glamour and all the promotional nonsense that they tell us, this kid really seems like he has a good heart. And I love that. I love that, seeing a guy come up like that. And I'm really excited about his career. I definitely want to see him fight other 130-pound title holders. Tevin Farmer would be a great fight. Miguel Berchelt would be a great fight. Anybody that you can get in the ring with that guy, put him in there and let's see it. So I do think a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll be talking a lot about Gervonta Davis and less about Jose Ramirez. Now, I could be wrong, right? I expect out of the 140-pounders, I expect Regis Prograis to come out of that. But I don't know. I mean, for all I know, Josh Taylor's going to come out of that, right? We don't know. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. It is exciting, though, that we could watch all the same fights and come up with two guys that we were both super impressed with and that we're both really excited about seeing in the future. I think that to me is like to say, awesome.
I'm excited about all of them.
Yeah.
And I think it did make a difference that one fight was 2 rounds and he completely obliterated his opponent. And we watched that fight on a laptop while the Tevin Farmer fight was also on the TV. I think this affects, me making like great analytical
No, I think your argument's fine because Jose Ramirez had the better win, a much, much better win, and an amazing performance.
I mean, that's almost like if there were other conditions in place, you're like, let's give Ramirez and Hooker to fight again. Yeah. But they're not really in a place in a career where you're going to be like demanding a rematch or anything like that, or
not
you
know
yet. What I mean?
There's too much else that can happen.
Maybe later on, maybe they can both like go on and continue to win, and then we're like, we want to see that again.
This video is already too long, but I'll just say one more thing. I'm excited about the possibility. Chris Mannix interviewed Terrence Crawford on DAZN, which was neat in its own way, because Terrence Crawford's not affiliated with DAZN at all. Mm-hmm. But he asked Terrence Crawford, hey, are you watching this? What's happening at 140? We could have the next undisputed 140-pound champion. Are you wanting to fight that guy, maybe, the last two? And Terrence Crawford was like, yeah, love that. Can you imagine what that fight would be like? That would be a huge fight. And I'm excited. I'm so excited about boxing right now. I'll tell you what else I'm excited about.
Well, I'm excited about people liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Yeah, it's really awesome. That's the same thing I'm excited about. Thank you so much for watching our show. We appreciate it. Thanks for commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to do that.